Good morning, America, and good morning to all of my Facebook family and friends followers. This is Chef Donna. I am about to do some homemade beignets, but I'm going to teach you how to do these beignets in under 5 minutes. So, to do them in under 5 minutes, you will need to buy a can of biscuits, a can of your choice biscuits. I preferably use buttermilk biscuit, and I use the home style. I don't recommend you to use biscuit that has the butter inside in it, because that means you're frying your biscuit in grease, and the grease is still there. So I just recommend that you use either plain biscuits or home style biscuits or buttermilk biscuits. And we're gonna make some homemade beignets by frying our biscuits, okay? So you see what I have. I cut them in fours. That's one biscuit. I cut it in fours. And this is my grease. I can basically look at my grease and see if it's hot enough, and it's hot enough. It's beginning to boil a little bit. You don't want to burn your grease, and you just drop the biscuit like so. You can crimp them like this here. Just do a little crimp, smash them together around the edges if you like, and then drop them in your grease. Here with this, you have to constantly stay here. I'm picking up biscuits, being my beignets. But you have to constantly stay here. Drop your grease down to medium high, and you have to turn. So you have to always turn these because they fry real fast. You don't want them to burn. You don't want to leave your fire. And while you're frying them, the dough is going to be fried real good on the outside, but moist on the inside. So they're going to be under 5 minutes cooking. And I will demonstrate to you. I will show you what they look like after I turn them some. Once you get used to frying them, you're going to know how long to leave them in the pot. You're going to use your own judgments. But again, like I said, fry them under 5 minutes, maybe a minute or two. Okay. My grease start popping. Need to stand back. Just a minute or two, and you can watch them fry. So those are your beignets. If you're craving beignets and you don't have time to stand in the kitchen and make dough, or going to a place that makes fresh dough and beignets, make your own. Just grab a can of biscuits. I'm going to go ahead and pull these, okay? And I'm going to stick them in a bowl. My bowl is over here. I'm going to stick them in this big bowl right here. Should have brought everything up here. I'm sorry. So everything is going in this bowl. And that's so the grease can drain. And then once the grease has drained, I'm going to transfer them into another bowl. And again, I'm just dropping my biscuits that I cut. I cut them in fours. So you can see I'm just dropping them in the grease. My grease is turned on number 5. That's a medium high. But when I started it, I had it up on high. So I'm just constantly dropping in my biscuits and their beignets. I'm going to cut this one up in fours. So you have to bear with me on this one. I'm working by myself, which is fine. Just cut like so and cut like this. And just cut it in fours. That's all. And cut the next one in fours so you can drop them in your grease. And just start dropping and start turning. You make sure you turn your beignets, so make sure you turn them so they don't burn. Make sure they don't burn at all. You have enough grease. And this pot right here, this is a very small pot. I'm using a very small pot. You can basically look at that. So I think this is probably like a 4-quart. I'll turn it over once I'm finished. I think it's it's very small, so it's not a big pot. You can just call it a medium pot, okay, right now. And I use a cup of cooking oil. And it depends on your pot. You don't need much grease when frying because you're deep frying. And biscuits they fry fast anyway. So you just turn like so. Just turn them so they don't burn. Just want them to cook on the outside and be moist on the inside. So I'm going to start pulling these that's over here because they're fairly cooked except for the two that I just put in, which is these two. I just put those two in right here with a spoon at. So what I'm going to do is just turn them. And I'm going to go ahead and pull the rest of them. So, yeah. These right here are pretty much done. And taking them out of the grease. And taking them out of the grease. And I got two that's still left. So these two that's in the grease, we're going to turn for a while. So we're dealing with what? Hypothetically, to make beignets in a minute or under. Well, when you think about it, it would fry with, you know, a minute or under. But you have to gather your ingredients. So I give it like a 4-minute, you know, gather yourself together to get your ingredients. That means to pop open a can of biscuits and to, you know, slice them in 4s. So I'm going to pull this out like so. And that is really pretty. Just go ahead and pull them out. I'm going to buy me some more spoons soon, because I want the spoons with the holes in it also. So I moved the grease off the fire and put it on the back burner. And now I'm going to turn off my stove. And I always double check so everything is on